Girl, what? Are you telling me that John found out he's not the father? Girl, what did he do? No.
And cut.
Hi, my name is Shakira and I am an actress. Due to my busy schedule, I do not have the time to go to the supermarket and get my groceries. But thanks to every supermarket, they have brought it to me. All I have to do is just log into their website, add whatever I want to my shopping cart, and then just click pay. Oh, and did I mention? They're very fast. Thanks to Afri Supermarket for creating a new and convenient way for me to do my shopping.
Everyone, you set? Ready in 3, 2, 1, action.
Dun 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 dun. Dun dun.
3, 2, 1.
Look at that.
And action.
You can actually count.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know what
lights me up.
You know what cracks me up?
Yeah.
Is the time when what's the guy's name?
Which one is it?
Nicholas. when we asked Nicholas, so there's a guy that we had. Let me tell Wallace this.
Yeah.
There's a guy that we had when this guy was away, and so we say to this guy, count us in.
Camera guy we tried out for a day. Yeah. Count us in.
Tell me why this guy begins to go 1, 2, 3. And I'm sitting there like,
where does this end?
So what the fuck am I supposed to know when to come in? Are you counting to 100?
Oh, crap.
Jesus.
Anyway, the way my face lights up every time we have an entrepreneur on set, man.
You have people to look up to.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And because I'm still in my infancy when it comes to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I've only been a business person for 4 years now? Okay. We'll still call that in infancy.
Very early age.
Very early age, yeah. I think 4 years now, yeah. The radio station's turning, pretty much. So to have person...
Do we want to... Whose phone keeps ringing? Is that your phone?
It's an iPhone.
Yes, an iPhone. do we want to address what happened to the bombshell episode or not?
Crap. About the bombshell episode. In summary, I think what we posted pretty much sums it up. The team in America was not... I think they were not accustomed to the way we do our podcast, and I think they wanted something that's very ZNBC-ish, very laid back.
ZNBC is there for ZNBC questions.
Exactly. So I think the manager in America, Bombshell's manager in America, wanted something that's very...
And people had a problem with you mentioning that he's in America.
And I did that on purpose, by the way. I did that very much on purpose when I did the post. I take full responsibility for that post. And I did it on purpose so that they don't attack anyone in Zambia, because people in Zambia may know another manager of hers. So it was the guy in America who said, nah, we don't want this going up. And we said, you know what, F it. We'll drop it.
And there's managers that are pretty sensitive too.
Yeah. So
did you guys actually do the interview?
So yeah, we did.
We did the full thing. Mom was posted it on Tuesday,
and
they said you couldn't air it.
And she got me to look at her boobs and everything too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Maybe that's why that
she asked me to. I was being professional and I looked into her eyes.
And also just defending Bombshell, she was quite deflated that the manager didn't accept.
She actually liked it. There's only one thing that she wanted us to take out.
Just once, 3 words.
That's it.
3 words that she wanted out of the episode. And we did that and she was happy with the episode. The American management, though, just said, you know what? I don't like the way this podcast is done, blah, blah, blah. We said, F it. Stay in America. We're here in Zambia. We'll continue. Life goes on, man.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't worth the hassle, really.
I still love Bombshell, though.
But then, did you see the backlash in the comments of people saying, "Yeah, that's why"?
For us?
No, for her.
For her.
Yeah.
And that's what
which I don't like, because I actually like Bombshell. And
I like Bombshell.
Yeah.
Much love and respect, no love lost, like we said in the post. And we move on. Yeah. Today, we have a prolific entrepreneur.
You know
this
the brand company. You know the brand. You have used it. You have gotten your girlfriend food
through his platform.
And other things.
For your girlfriends.
But you just didn't know the face. Wait, dude, is that camera facing me?
It feels like it's facing someone else.
Yeah, it just feels like it's facing somewhere else. But you just didn't know the face.
Yeah, so...
And I've got a theory as to why you did not know the face up until just recently. I'll share my theory just now.
Okay. We are here to expose you.
Ladies,
I'm looking forward to hearing the
gentlemen, boys, girls, and everything in between.
Mothers, aunties, uncles.
I don't know what like people like Casta Semenya are. So,
transgender.
She's not transgender. She's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
So yes.
Anyway, that category.
Whatever you identify as, if you identify as a helicopter, please put your hands together. For the founder and CEO of AfriDelivery, Mr. Wallace. Didn't I say put your hand together?
Haters are not clapping.
Did I not say put your hands together? This is why niggas are broke. This is exactly why you're broke.
The saying is, he who paves way for the great paves way for his own greatness.
Right.
So clap for...
I don't know if you just made that up or someone actually just said that.
I think I made it.
I think it's true.
But that's a good one, though.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
It is a good one.
Copyright that. Patent it.
I also think it's true.
Wallace, welcome to that podcast.
Thank you very much.
You think it's true, right?
Yeah.
He who paves way for the great paves way for his own greatness.
100%.
And I think we'll kick it off from there. You are setting up AfriDelivery. Whose way did you pave to get to where you are?
Everybody else that's doing deliveries today. I mean, we when we came in, delivery existed, but it never existed to the capacity it does today. And I believe we went through the tough journey or the long journey of what we call customer education. So the pioneers, when it came to teaching people how to use such platforms, showing people how to trust such platforms, the whole ecosystem. I mean, we invested a lot in product education, which made it easier for everybody else to just come and say, okay, I'm buying 2-3 bikes, I'm now a delivery service, and I'll become like this company, so on and so forth. But I think we contributed a lot when it came to educating the public, which is more or less the hardest task you face as a tech company when you start such a business. And so far, so good. The good thing is that being a pioneer, I mean, you always, or being first to market, you always have an advantage of the fact that people will try you out before they try anything else out. So it also gives us an edge that as long as we continue offering our users a good service and we continue to exist, and we still remain as a priority service.
People are loyal. So go ahead.
Yeah, people
are loyal to a brand, especially just like you said, if it's you've got first movers advantage. So people use that, and if they like it, if the food is there on time, if the service has been great, people are going to stick to what they know.
Yeah, I mean, we've got cases of users that have ordered probably 1,500 times.
Wow.
Because we do count. So anytime you place an order, there's a counter that shows how many times you've ordered. That means that person has ordered almost every day for the last 3 years.
Wow.
So it's ridiculous. It's crazy. And I mean, food is a very sensitive product. So people don't want to mess around. You can't jump around how you get your food delivered or where you get your food from and so on and so forth. So it's very easy for you to get a very good retention rate. And that's what I believe we still sustain our business on. Most people know us for food delivery, but food delivery is actually a very small part of our business. So we also do a lot of last mile delivery. For example, like the fish you eat from Yalelo, the one that's transported from their warehouse to all these local shops that you guys are buying from. We do a lot of distribution of construction materials, like your cement and so on. There's quite a lot of stuff that we do that falls under the last mile delivery, but all these motorbike guys you see transport food, but we also have like big assets, which are trucks, 3-wheelers, and so on.
So most likely people do not know this because you're more B2B.
Exactly, it's a B2B. Yeah.
So wait, when we say B2B, like all these others
So-
are working through AfriDelivery.
So I'll tell you one that I know
Yeah.
that is working with Lafarge.
Right. Yeah, I remember the promotion on radio. You guys promoted heavily, and your name kept popping up. Very good branding for you. But anyway, you've mentioned one thing that I've remembered. I think you saw the headlines. One of the South African newspapers actually reported this heavily for a few weeks, where they were talking about motorbikes delivering food to Soweto. The food never arrives.
All right, I saw that.
Are you guys experiencing any of this?
No.
People order food and it gets jacked on the way.
So we used to face issues.
Yeah.
Where we used to have our drivers get jacked. But in most cases, they'll probably just steal money or phones.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Which areas were these? You're about to say Kanyama. I saw
Yeah,
you. I saw you fixing to say Kanyama.
Yeah, we had an incident there. But we also cut these areas off.
For that reason?
Yes, for security reasons. We used to do deliveries all the way to.
This guy doesn't mess around, man.
So you guys are not delivering to Kanyama. Where else?
There's
I know where not to move to.
I don't know the areas
Yeah.
from top of my head, but there's quite a number of areas we don't deliver to. All those zones are empty. We used to deliver almost everywhere, and then you just woke up and you said, you know what? And there's some areas you can't order after 8.
For the same reason.
After 8,
The
yes.
food will just go missing somewhere along
Not
the way.
missing, but also security for the riders. You also just want to make sure your guys are okay, they're fine.
You said there's certain areas where
Certain
you don't.
areas, yeah. So like, I think Chalala, we don't do after 8 p.m. Salama Park in some areas.
That's where the bad bitches are, fam.
New Kasama also. There's quite a number of areas. So our delivery for food is very regulated. But the biggest reason why it's regulated like that is because of security reasons. We're responsible for those drivers. They are not freelance drivers. They're actually employees. They're part of the company. So we're responsible for them, and it's our responsibility to just make sure the guys are safe. Yeah, of course. I mean, it cuts our bottom line and so on and so forth, but at least it make sure that you guys keep going.
You know, when it comes to the story of entrepreneurship, and you watch a lot of entrepreneurship on YouTube or whatever, it's so glamorized. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and you see people driving Porsches and Mercedes Benz, and we hear Wallace does this. He lives in this neighborhood. He drives this. But I'm trying to get a clear picture of AfriDelivery, what it looks like today versus what it looked like the day you started. Like, why did you even get into delivery? How did you guys start? How did this whole idea come up?
Wow, it's a long and a good story. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting story because I wanted to do AfriDelivery. My first business was a taxi hailing company, like Orlando. I did it in.
Which one?
It's called AfriTaxi. I still have the technology.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
That's when we met.
Exactly, yeah.
Was he actually wanted to start AfriTaxi?
So my plan initially when I came here was to start AfriTaxi. But then I knew quite a lot about food delivery. The reason why I knew a lot about food delivery is AfriTaxi existed in Rwanda, and we were in partnership with the biggest food delivery in Africa. Let me just say that, called Jumia. You know Jumia?
Heard of it?
Jumia. So yes, it's a subsidiary of. So the parent company is called Rocket Internet. So they own Food Panda, all these big companies. So I knew quite a lot because we used to collaborate when it comes to marketing. They used to do food delivery, used to do taxis. So because we were servicing the same market, so we could easily co-market our products, so barter marketing and so on and so forth. And that's how I learned about food delivery. So when I came here, the reason why I did from Rwanda, I used to live in Rwanda. I'm originally from Kenya, but I've lived in like 15 countries. Long story, yeah. Entrepreneurship will take
International man of mystery.
Yeah. So when I came here, I wanted to start AfriTaxi. You know, I didn't start AfriTaxi because I knew eventually at some point there will come an issue of regulations. You remember the way the guys woke up one day and said that you have to be a registered taxi for you to use these platforms?
Yeah.
From that point, because you don't want to start a business, grow it, it becomes a big deal, and then all of a sudden there's something you can't control. You see, but I knew that delivery, especially food delivery, was not heavily regulated because there's no way to regulate it, first of all, and it doesn't fall under the postal law. So that you can just start. And I knew, so when I came, how I came here is I wanted to start. So after Rwanda and seeing how big competition was there, I decided to go start in Zim. So I went to Zim in 2016. Going to Zim in 2016, there was an issue. I couldn't bring money in, I couldn't take money out. And then a guy, so one of our potential investors at a particular point used to be a member of parliament. He suggested that we try to one of the two growing markets in Africa. He mentioned Zambia, and then he mentioned Angola. So at that point, I remembered, like a friend of mine, my best friend at that time, had told me a week before I went to Zim that he had a dream that I had a successful business in Zambia. The only thing we used to know about Zambia at that particular point was this Amarula song. Nothing else. Nothing else. And
not the falls, nothing. Not the
nothing.
president, nothing.
So I was like, you know what? Let me get a ticket, go check out Zambia. I flew here, was here for 3 days, went out. I wanted to check the market, see whether there's enough restaurants to do deliveries for, the purchase power of the population, whether there's actually something I can do here. The penetration when it comes to internet connection, all those things. I came, got on a taxi, went to Mika Hotel, checked in there. The following day, woke up, went to Manda Hill, was there the whole day. Went to Chicago's was a Manda Hill at that particular time.
Oh,
went out.
That's upstairs, yeah.
Went, did that for 3 days. Got on a flight, went back home, took all my things and came back here.
So what convinced you?
I just feel some good vibe here. Yeah. And I knew I was, I think about it.
What's her name?
No, not a she.
This good vibe.
Not yet. But I felt it was a good space at that particular point. And the funny thing is, when I look at it now, I was very excited about taking risks at that particular point. So I really didn't care about anything. I could easily migrate from one country to another country and not care. I mean, I can easily survive in any country. If you just pick me up and leave me there, cool. As long as I can communicate. So that's how I came back. And then I went to the Apple store. I was buying a case for my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I found a very good salesman there. His name was Ahmed. And the way he sold me that car, I was like, you know what? If I want to do restaurant acquisitions, like if I want to onboard them, I need someone like this. I asked him whether he wants to work for me. He said, yeah, cool. He resigned, and that was my first employee. That's how AfriDelivery started. I went somewhere, I think he came to that place actually. I got a pool house. You remember in Olympia?
I remember that.
I got a pool house, I got a small desk, and I launched AfriDelivery with 2 riders.
Looks shady as hell.
2 bikes.
Shady, 2 bikes. And it used to break down every fucking day, man. Like I used to wake up and all of a sudden all tubes. I never knew anything about logistics.
Wow. Fuel.
Tubes, this. And I used to drive a very small fun cargo. The green one? Yeah, the blue one. So yeah. So anytime we would break down, I had one rule and one rule only.
Yeah.
Never let your customer see the bad side of your business. So my drivers knew if a bike breaks down, jump on the next cab that you can see there. Deliver that food. If you can't call me, I will pick up the order and deliver it myself. If I told you the number of deliveries I've done in this town,
the soccer like
unbelievable.
The back of your palm right now.
I have maps. Now, I mean, of course, yeah. But now the funny thing is, I remember them now. But back then, they never used to be an issue. I mean, it's crazy. But I did so many deliveries. I remember I delivered so many pizzas. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and we used to sit from 7 in the morning, 9 p.m. to 9 p.m. and probably just would do 1, 2 deliveries, 3 deliveries and so on. And when I think, that's the funny part. When I think about it now,
yeah,
it's insane. It's crazy.
What are the numbers like? I mean, from 2-3 deliveries a day.
So we're doing
to
about
2020. And when was this? 2016?
That was 2017. So that's 2017. So
fast forward 5 years.
Fast forward 5 years, about 10,000 deliveries a month.
What?
Not a day. No.
Okay, sure.
But that's just for our B2C. Our B2B, of course, is another part of the business. But our B2C grew quite a lot into hundreds. Yeah.
You know, there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many questions, right?
Yeah. And there's so many. You know the way.
But you said something very important, that
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is glamorized.
Yeah.
And I had an interview in the morning, and someone mentioned the same thing. I keep telling people that there's this story that everybody's fed that entrepreneurship is all that.
Just quit your job, and in a year you.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
That entrepreneurship will take so much from you.
True.
It will take so much from you that what you think you are will stop existing.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable, man. And I think that's what people don't know. People are not told that mentally it will strain you to the point where you feel like you're going nuts. And if you're not in a position to separate yourself from that stress, it will kill you. It will easily take you out. You will not see it coming, but it will take you out. So whatever people think entrepreneurship is, it is not. It is not.
The struggle
It is
real.
not, especially when you have people under you. Running a business is hard, but being a leader is harder. The minute you have people looking up to you and asking you questions every morning and sending you messages at 7 a.m. and so on, you will go fucking crazy, man. It's unbelievable. I've got at least 100 people under me.
Yeah.
And so my day starts at 6, but my time to myself ends at 7:40 in the morning.
That's it.
The minute
You
everything
become public property after
Yes. From that point
Yeah.
to 10 p.m. I mean, now I've got systems in place and people in place that do that. But it still puts you in a place where even if people don't hit you up or send you messages and so on at work, you still get some level of anxiety, or is everything okay? Especially when you travel. I remember I went to Victoria Falls, when was that? Last month or so. And you went to do that God swing, and there's no network there. So you're offline for like maybe 2 hours.
You see why I don't travel during the week? Because driving from
And you're
Lusaka-
sweating, you're nervous.
And you're like, shit, when I put my phone back on. Yeah, but I'm learning to probably navigate this. I mean, pick up things like therapy, have very good support system around you. Because I easily saw I got really sick at some point, because of stress.
Yeah.
And it's cumulative stress. It builds up to a point where if you're probably like a balloon, it would explode. You understand? So every now and then you need to find some sort of a release. But
I don't know why I keep
my release is so I release in many ways. But like I said, therapy there's healthy release. Of course, there's also unhealthy release.
Yeah, of course.
But I used to practice a lot of unhealthy release. But as my business became serious and I started now dealing with partners, shareholders, governments, and so on, then I started now practicing healthy release, where you start going into things like therapy, just having good management, people you can talk to, going on trips. I travel a lot. I try and travel at least every month. I mean, previously used to be other things like indulge in alcohol. I mean, I used to go out almost every night. It was nuts.
Let me tell
My
you.
day would start at 11 in the morning. By the time your day starts at 11, I mean, your whole business has run all the way to...
So let me
If you
tell
haven't
you.
set up proper systems, you're gone, right?
Yeah.
Story time?
I met. Do you remember how we met?
Yeah.
Junior, right? Do you remember Junior?
No, but I think...
I forget.
No. But I think we were doing something about... I don't remember.
I don't remember, but I remember one of the few dates that we had was at Chicago's.
Oh, you guys were dating?
Really?
Yeah.
You
We
were
went to
dating?
Chicago's
Okay, all right, cool.
meetings.
All right,
We went to Chicago's
Yeah,
and then
I
we
remember.
sat and
Yeah.
then we spoke about everything that you thought. So AfriTaxi was still a thing there, AfriDelivery. And here is something that you probably did not know.
Tell us, bro.
Do you know the reason or where I picked up shisha from?
It's him. You turned this guy into a monster.
No. You know, I was shocked.
It's
when
an addiction now.
I was shocked when I stopped, I was shocked when I saw it on social media. I was like, shit, I know this guy doesn't drink. This is finally we got his vice.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's madness.
So
You can't call Elson to any chill spot. The first question I was going to ask you, is there a shisha?
Oh no.
Yes. Okay, cool. Is there food?
Perfect.
I'm
so
coming.
at some point, we actually spoke of working together.
Yeah.
We even signed a contract.
Yeah, I remember.
And that actually quickly moved from that, and we lived in the same house.
You guys were housemates.
Yeah.
We were housemates.
And I
First you were dating, then you became, this escalated real quick.
Yeah, for about a year or so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for about a year. And let me tell you the interesting thing, just like what he's saying, where entrepreneurship is glamorized, is I remember the call center was in the fucking lounge.
Yeah.
You remember
I
that?
remember, yeah.
You guys are like the Google stories, Apple, stuff in the garages.
You know what I remember? So I remember when I came here, I had some partnerships that fell apart. So I had to reset. And I remember telling my mom that I'm about to sell everything in my fucking house.
Yeah.
I hope I can cuss on this show.
Yeah, please feel free,
I
man.
can I'm going to sell things in my house because I need to pay my employees. And my mom was like, the minute you start doing that, it will affect you so much. So the best thing for you is to cut down, then I'll support you how I can. And the first thing I did was move, because I remember they doubled my pool house. They doubled the rent.
But that was a shitty ass building, though.
They doubled the rent.
From 3,000 to 6,000.
I don't know what their justification was, because that was a shitty ass
I think they just didn't like me, though. I think that, I know.
Maybe it started looking like you were making money.
I know it was a personal issue. They just didn't like me. There was a girl that didn't like me for
Just
sure.
double, man. Is that even legal?
Yeah, and I was like, I can't afford this. I couldn't afford 6,000 coach. Can you imagine?
Dude,
ridiculous.
I think we've all been there, man.
And then I said, you know what? I'm moving everything to my house. So every morning, the employees, how many did I have? 2, 3, maybe.
2. There was that light-skinned skinny chick.
Yeah.
I think she was doing night.
Yeah.
I forget her name.
So there were 2 shifts. So I only used to have one call center agent at a particular shift. So one used to come in the morning, the other one used to come in the evening. And 2 people resigned. my BDM and one the call center agent. So it remained me
and one other person.
The
Ahmed guy?
No. Ahmed we had separated at that particular point.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was myself and one other lady.
I think her name was Paula.
Yeah. Paula. Yes.
Shut up.
Please, can we proceed? Yes.
Question for later. Yeah.
And so I used to do it. So I used to wake up in the morning at 7, start my shift. The riders will come to the house. I used to still have 2. And then that's how we ran that shit for like how long?
Over a year.
Over a year.
From the living room.
Bruh. Wow. You couldn't bring guests.
But the corner there was the desk.
There was a little desk in the corner, and then
workstation.
you'd get the couch that was facing the TV. You remember that?
That was also enough. It was workspace.
It was workspace. So the workspace
Everything
was
was
like behind
workspace.
you. Yeah.
Wow.
I even forgot about that. I forgot I moved my office once to my house. And my employees used to come there. But even at that particular point, because we didn't have a generator, when power used to like go, my employees would come
Business
to my
goes
house.
down. Yeah.
Because my business has to stay online. So
Right.
my employees jump on my small fun cargo to my house. And we work from
Oh
there.
man,
I
that
like how
was
it keeps referring to the fun cargo. Though.
Bruh,
What is he driving now?
that
Africa
thing.
was
That
legendary.
thing was like run down.
Wait, what's he driving now?
Oh, let me tell you something about this guy, because I wanted to get to that at some point.
Are you gonna answer what?
I'm going to
coming to that?
in a second.
Okay, cool.
I'm getting.
I
in a
drive a
second.
Land Rover now.
Right now, he drives a Land Rover, but before he
2026.
had a 3 Series, a white one. Please ask the good gentleman what happened to that car.
Oh,
Yes. What happened to that car?
I gave it away
He gave it away
BMW 3 Series.
Yes.
They also never do such.
to my gym instructor.
to his gym instructor.
This guy was.
He gives shit away. That's not the first car he's given away.
But anyway, it's not because
I need
And
to
the
know,
guy
bruh.
just wakes up and he was like, "You want a car? Yes." Hey.
No, he paid a little bit for it, and then I was like, the extra. Like,
Why do I need to be found to receive these goods? Gym? No.
yeah, my friends get a lot of stuff from me. I mean,
we're not friends,
I don't sell my stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
Just
I
putting
know
on a
this.
record, Wallace and I are now best friends. Like
I don't sell my stuff. I give it away.
my nigga.
Yeah.
My nigga.
You know, there's a lot. I'm really finding it difficult to.
the Land Rover.
No, Land Rover is.
No, I mean,
it's
I'm just
already
saying,
booked.
now that we're friends.
It's already booked.
Yeah, even my phone is booked. I mean, my shit just comes and is booked immediately.
So I have to wait for the next car. Range Rover, maybe.
Now I want to invest in nice cars because now I know I'll be here for quite some
Perfect
time.
timing then.
Yeah.
I came in at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're working on your investor's permit. You're in
I got
Portugal
it,
for
I
some.
have it.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
You
so I'm good.
need. So let me tell you what that means. You need to have at a minimum $250,000 US
To get an investor's permit.
in your account.
Yeah. You need to bring in $250,000. Yeah.
We are dealing with big people here. Tell me something about before we even talk about the rise of AfriDelivery, and I'm just trying to understand on the come up.
Yeah.
I'm sure you look at other entrepreneurs coming behind you, and you're seeing the mistakes they're making. I'm trying to understand what big mistakes did you make on the way up that you look back and you think,
A lot. I'm still paying for them, man.
yeah, those are the ones I'm looking for.
I mean, everything I'm paying for today, I made those mistakes probably like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But you know what? I used to think I was unique. I used to think my problems were unique to me, but they're not. When you start having conversations with entrepreneurs, I know entrepreneurs go through situations where they're scared to talk about issues they go through.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be seen as doing great. Okay?
Yeah.
And I've been a victim of that, where you're putting this face, that shit is just not going your way and so on. But when you start having genuine conversations with people, you see that they're going through the same issues as you.
Yeah.
Sometimes even on a higher level. So I'm losing my train of thought.
The mistakes.
Yeah. So the mistakes I've seen them make and the mistakes I made. So I made a lot of expensive mistakes. The biggest mistake I made personally was to not know the difference between good debt and bad debt. So where I used short-term debt as long-term debt. Okay. So what that means is that you use money that you're not supposed to use, maybe for something that how do I put this? It's like funding something with basically money you're not supposed to use. Not necessarily because you don't have access to it, but because eventually for you to pay that money back, it will cost you more.
Right.
You understand? So I think that was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. The second one was probably just hiring wrong people. I don't say bad people, but wrong people. And feeling like at some point I had a very bloated payroll. So where you have like everybody doing everything. So you find that you have a lot of liability when it comes to human resource. So those are things I've been correcting the last 2 years or so on and so forth. But I also now another mistake I made was probably just being too trusting. Because I always give people benefit of doubt. I always think or assume that you have the best you have best intentions for me. So and eventually you come to realize that it doesn't work like that. Especially in business. I've been in situations where I've literally been called to people's houses and being blackmailed by some people you'd never imagine. Man.
What the hell?
It's crazy, yeah.
Wait, tell me
People's
about
houses.
that. What happened? The blackmailed over what?
Of a contract that I didn't want to sign, and yeah, it's crazy. So, and you play this through because, of course, I mean, you at that particular point you're still small, and there's only so much you can do. But eventually, these things really drain you as you grow. But I also believe it's part of the process. And also, I mean, when I was starting, I didn't have a network here. So it was make it or make it. So I had to do what I had to do. So unfortunately for me, it took a bit longer because of that. But I mean, I've been able to correct most of these things. I'm still in business. We're still okay. I mean, there's growth and so on and so forth. But I've learned a lot. I'm still learning, but I'm in a very good place. And also, entrepreneurship would take all your fucking confidence away. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. It will take away a lot of people in your life as well.
It will take. I mean, you wake up with doubts every day because, especially if you make 1 or 2 mistakes,
Right.
you can easily live with that for quite some time. But it's something. It's a personal journey. Something that you have to wake up and lift yourself up again and just keep going.
I remember you and I had this conversation several times. And I touched on this when I spoke to Liapambewe and Dumisani Ngube. on your journey to get to where you are now, number one, you're not from Zambia.
No.
And even if you were, you have a concept, you know what you want to do. So number one, it's difficult enough for you to convince restaurants and partners to work with you. But bigger than that is you need funding to do this.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to walk into a fucking bank and you say, listen, this is my vision, this is my dream, I haven't done it, but this is what I think I am able to do. They'll laugh you out of the door.
Join me in this.
And they
risk.
enjoy that shit, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Hearing the pitches.
Oh, they enjoy just...
No, they tell you, they enjoy telling you to fuck off.
Yeah, they enjoy telling you that there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. How did you do this?
I've got personal beef. I won't say beef, but I've got an issue with banks. And even when I did a launch on that day, which you didn't show up.
I'm sorry.
And it was...
I explained why though, bro.
I understand. The banks attended. And I always tell them the truth. I told them the biggest risk that you guys have at this particular point is the fact that you're very comfortable where you are. And the people they're competing with is private equity or private investors.
I was about to bring that up with some explanation.
So I try to go to banks. I still work with banks in certain cases on their most traditional solutions. But my innovation or any new product or anything, I feel like, an idea this has never been backed by a bank. Yeah. And I don't intend for it to be backed by a bank. I don't see it being backed by a bank. I've been very lucky to get private investors that make the bureaucracy process almost non-existent. You understand? And first of all, that's patient capital. They'll give you money. They'll be like, you know what, let's see what you do. And you know what I noticed nowadays? Private equity investors, they're investing in entrepreneurs. It's not necessarily your business.
Yes.
They really, I mean, even if your revenue is 0.00, they just have to have a conversation with you and understand your story.
Oh man, that is so true.
You understand?
Yeah.
And if you're able to tell a very good story,
Yeah,
the guys will put money in you.
Which ties into what I heard Vusi Tembekwa say recently. He was talking about how you're starting a business and you're going to a bank to get money. You're having the right conversation with the wrong people.
With the wrong people.
Because their money is not for you. They come to you when you don't need their money.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you go big and you don't need their money, then they'll give you money.
Remember, I shared the story where I say an investor doesn't invest in your business, they invest in a person.
Yes.
Because there is nothing that you're selling them that is new or proprietary.
Yeah, true.
What you're selling has been done and is being done. It's you that they're investing in. When I had the conversation with you, so I've known him for quite a while, and initially I had the honey thing, etc. And I came to you and I was like, dude, I'm stuck. I need funding.
Yeah.
And you said your best bet is private equity. And at that point, I did not know anybody to do that. So I left that alone and I started something else, which is in fintech. Yeah. And I didn't go to the banks. The other players that are in the same market as me went to the banks. They had plenty of other property and stuff to put up as collateral. Right? So they got money like instantly.
Yeah.
I didn't. I told this story. I met 3 kinds of people. The first person, I told them what I wanted to do. They could not say no. However, what they took from me is something which I can't get back, which is my time.
Yeah.
So they would say, yes, we're going to do it. Send me these documents. Call me next week. Call me tomorrow. Call me next month. And literally 6 months down the line. I'm sure you've met those, right?
I think it's a guy 1 minute, he gives you money.
Yes. And then the second person that I met said no. Flat out. My best kind of person. I like those. The third person that I met, I was at Kingsland, right? This guy had property that was offloading. It was like, dude, I watch your podcast. In fact, I even know Kalenga. I said, all right, cool. Dude, now that you have all this money, because you just sold property, right? You got all this money. I've got something that I want to pitch. He says, take my phone number. I'm leaving for Dubai today, but give me a shout in a week. I take his phone number. I text him, hi, this is Elson. He goes to Dubai. And then when he gets back, he calls me. I didn't call him. He got back. Yeah. And he calls me and he says, where are you? I told him where I was. He says, let's meet in Kabulonga. I get there. We sit at Meraki. He says, tell me your pitch again one more time. Because I told him my pitch over the phone. Yeah. So then I told him everything. The guy looks at me Then he gets up, he goes to his car, he gets his laptop, he comes back, and he says, "Give me your account details."
How can I transfer this? I like those.
This guy transferred 2 million. He did not know my last name at that point. After he transferred the money, a week later, his lawyer then called me for
The due diligence
MOU.
now. No due
He said,
diligence whatsoever.
if I'm to process this, if I'm to think about this over and over again,
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
won't
gonna,
happen.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do it. So that was the first guy. I've only had 2 investors. The second guy was an Indian guy. You've met the guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
By Try Lounge, yeah?
And that conversation did not take over a week.
Those are your best bet. So for the stuff I'm doing now, my new stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even thought about banks, and I was lucky to raise money when it was just an idea. I just took a piece of pen and paper. I went to a restaurant. One of my partners, I told him I want to do this. He's like, okay, I'll commit this for this equity. Then I went to Europe. I built the tech, came back. By the time I was coming back, by the time I started having conversations with banks and the frustration of looking money to build a business.
Yeah, true.
You have to pick one, because if you take yourself through that mud, bro, chances are that you will come out so dirty that you can't wash it off. So yeah,
Damn, that's a jam.
Dude.
Wait, say that again?
yeah.
That's a jam.
I just thought
Repeat
about
it again?
You're from Kenya, right?
Yeah, I was born in Kenya, but I'm African.
Yeah, speaking of Africa, man. There's a guy, I don't even know Dumisani Nkube. Ngube. Sorry, my bad. You know Dumisani Nkube?
The radical entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I know him.
The guy with the nose.
So he's pushing an agenda, entrepreneurship, especially amongst youths. What do you feel about youths who always run to talk about, I don't have money to
But
start
you don't
this?
need money to start a business.
Please shed more light.
I mean,
on
money
this.
is the last. You need money to scale a business.
Yeah.
That is true. Money is the last thing you need.
Yeah, you need money to scale a business, not start a business.
No, we need to do more on this, and that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and even in my neighborhood, like I have, sometimes I take walks on my street, and I'll meet young guys talking about, I'm trying to start this, I'm trying to come see you and Nelson, help me raise money. I'm like, okay, what's
For
the
what?
idea? That's the thing. And I just need you guys to help me break it down, especially you who's achieving so much stuff.
You don't need money to you need money to scale a business. So once you've got your 100, 200 customers, then you need money to double or triple that number. You don't need money to get your first customer. Your first
100 is even a lot.
Yeah, your first customer can be your mother, it can be your friend, it can be whoever. It can be your whole, your circle. That's why you have to go through that beta test process.
Yeah.
So you build a product, you test it, and then you roll with it. I mean, there's some cases where you might need some money. But either way, for example, people come to me and they're like, oh, I want to launch a tech company. Most tech companies, most people that have tech platforms believe that you should have an app, Android app, iOS app, and a website. Okay?
Yeah.
But with technology today, I can guarantee you for a fact that 80% of the apps running now are hybrid apps. A hybrid app is a very good website that has been compiled into an app. For you to build proper apps, it will cost you hundreds of thousands. It has run me hundreds of thousands of dollars to build my apps. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it will cost you so much that if you think about it as a cost, like a cost that you need from the get-go, you feel like you have to raise $1 million and so on.
Then a kid is going to ask you, but you said you can't start without money. How then do you get an app that's costing $100,000?
Build a
You're just starting up.
website. Build a website.
Okay.
I started with a website. AfriDelivery was a website.
Serious?
Yes, AfriDelivery was a website. And then when I started building apps, since I couldn't afford to
Start with apps.
to pay for all these apps, you know what
Yeah.
I did? So what you do is you get the value of what you will have to pay for those apps. Let's assume mine is $200,000. And then you go to whoever is building the app and tell them, you know what, I've got this good business. So far we've gone this far, but I don't want to be using my working capital or my revenues or my investments to pay you. Why don't you come and become a partner in this? So if your contribution is technology worth 200,000, the equity in the business worth 200,000 is maybe 5-10% or whatever, and they come on board as a partner, and you guys build a business together. Because if you think you're going to bankroll this all the way to the end, it is impossible. It is absolutely, unless you raise millions and millions of dollars, which is not practical.
Yeah,
maybe
crowdfunding and all.
maybe in the Western world you can do that, but we have to be honest with each
Friends in
other.
our Western world have angel investors, crowdfunding.
Yeah, we have to be very honest with each other. It's not something you want to do, because first of all, most people think that raising millions of dollars is glamorous. But let me tell you something. You have to give away so much of your equity that eventually you end up working for a company that's not even yours and you started it.
That's exactly what happened to Steve Jobs.
And he only had what, 1% in it?
And that's how you got fired from Apple.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Someone else.
Fired from your own company,
I once got an offer to sell my business for, was it $700,000 here in Zambia? And
was it tempting at that point?
Yes. And they said, okay, so you will keep $400,000 in cash and then $300,000 go to the business. And I thought about it, and I went to one of my mentors. I told him, I've been given an offer to sell my stuff for 700 grand. And at that time, the dollar was at like 22 or 20 something.
So it was really
he was coming to millions. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, shit. You know that guy, what he told me? He told me, okay, let's do some quick mathematics here. Okay, your kids. So my mom lives in America, yeah? Mm-hmm. So you've lived out of Kenya, out of your country for so long. So that means that chances of you getting married to someone that's not from your country are very high. So that person, let's assume even they live here. You get kids here. So your kids will want to go to international schools.
Yeah.
Okay? Send them to international schools. And you don't forget you have $400,000 in cash. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Their grandma lives in America.
Yeah.
The mom will want to go. The kids, let's assume you have 2 kids. Okay?
They're not going to visit
a normal
grandma.
A normal ticket to probably New York.
$2,000.
$2,000 and above. But since you're a businessman and you're doing well,
First class.
They want business class. They want first class. So all of a sudden this trip is costing 10 grand. But you know what? You've got this bougie lifestyle. Nobody wants to work. So the nanny has to travel too. Okay. So all of a sudden.
That's really breaking it down.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
for them to go twice, that's 20,000. He looks at me, we did some quick math. Okay, you want to live here, you want to build and so on and so forth. It was like, by the time you're done with 2 years, all this money will be done. Then he was like, do you think that's your fuck you money? You know what fuck you money is?
Nope. You watch Billions?
Is money that, regardless of what happens, you can just tell anybody.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
But isn't
Do you watch
the
Billions?
300,000 at
Do you
this
watch
point?
Billions?
No, but I know of it.
That's why I got
fuck you money.
the fuck you money.
Yeah.
But isn't the 300,000 then multiplying? You've got the 400. That's yours,
on
but the
top
300.
and on top of that, they were also going to give me a salary because you still have to work for the business.
So the 300,000 was multiplying. It's still in the business.
It's still in the business,
regenerating.
yeah,
and a salary as well.
And a salary as well.
Yeah.
So he basically become an employee. And you know what he told me? And I thought about it, and he was right. He was telling me, the minute you start working for your own company, you will kill yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go into someone's office and call them sir.
All right. In your own company.
In your own company,
You have to give them
founders.
reports.
Yeah.
I don't mind that because I do that to the board. Yeah? Even now I'm regulated.
Look at her with a disgusted face.
Even now I'm
Reporting someone in your own company.
Even now I'm regulated.
Yeah.
So I report to a board. I mean, it's not like you can just wake up and do anything in your business.
True. Yeah.
But the fact that you know that you started this and it's scaling without you being part of it, and whatever you got from it is not what you were supposed to get, you will hate yourself. It will completely kill your creativity. You will
And
not want to
frustration
start. It will
every day,
frustrate you to the core. So my point here is that most people think that raising early is a good idea, but I'm a very traditional businessman. I believe that you raise to scale, and your goal is to build a business that's generating revenue to sustain itself and to make a profit for the shareholders. So, point to note is, even if you're raising money, okay, raise money to grow your business. Don't raise money to get some lavish offices and BMWs and so on and so forth. Just because you've got venture money.
This is deep, man.
I feel attacked.
Just because you've got venture money. And you can see, if you look at so we're in a bubble in Africa where we're raising money for businesses and giving them crazy, ridiculous valuations, $200 million, $300 million. And then you burn through your cash. First of all, you raise all this money and promise stuff to investors and VCs that you can't deliver. Your security is your equity in the business. You end up owning maybe 5-6%. You're fired as the CEO, and then you have to cut your workforce by half. your co-founders, you guys are not in good terms because you raised all this money and blew it. Bro, look at the valuations 2 years ago for most of these tech startups and look at it today. Most of it has been cut by half. Very few companies are sustaining themselves, and almost no company has the founders as the majority shareholders. Non-existent.
This guy should write a book. You know what the title should be? What they don't teach you at CBU Business School.
What school did you go?
USIU, United States International University.
Well, write a book, bro.
I want you to correct me. I don't remember if you told me this story. No, I'm sure you did. Because of how conservative, actually, yeah, now I remember the story. Because of how conservative Zambia is, I want you to tell the story. So this guy here is the one that owns and is the CEO of AfriDelivery.
Yeah.
I'm the co-owner.
Cool.
As he is pitching his business to restaurants and other partners, they did not take him seriously. Can you guess why? Look at him and tell me why you think people did not want to take him
Was it
seriously.
your hair? Your skin
No,
color?
his hair was
tattoos.
his tattoos.
Tattoos.
His tattoos.
What, you look like a drug dealer?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can you that was a stumbling block to him actually.
I mean,
doing
it's
deals.
you know what? It's always this until I start talking. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of my meetings go well on like phone and
Until
Zoom
they
and
see you.
stuff. But now people are starting to know my face, so they take me a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
But when I talk substance.
Right.
Well, take us back in the day before
I mean,
you
it was
actually opened your
crazy.
mouth.
I never used to go for these meetings myself.
Right.
So I built a very good team that I could just deploy to the field. So we meet in the morning and tell you, go and say exactly this and this and this and this.
There was a particular type of
And this.
person.
Yes.
Who was
I
the
wanted
front.
to see, yeah. I also hired a particular type of person I don't want to mention just to go and close
Yeah.
some of these deals.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
But
She was white.
But you know what? You know what I gave? You know what? You know?
Yeah, that's it.
No, but it worked.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that she used to close. I don't know whether it's because she was good or maybe she.
No, but
I don't know, but
She understood.
She closed quite a good number of deals. But you know what? The market is what it is.
Yeah.
Again, the market will not adjust to you. You have to adjust to the market. So my goal is to make sure my business grows, and I'll do whatever I have to do to make sure my business grows. It might take a bit longer for me because probably I don't have the right networks, or maybe I'm not connected, or maybe so on and so forth. But you know what? I have to do what I have to do. If I have to hire a certain guy to be the front of the face of the business, I really couldn't give two shits whether they call them the CEO
Absolutely.
or the founding father of this and this. My goal is to make sure the business is good, the employees are good, everybody goes home happy.
there are Zambian hotels I know that will employ Indian guys and make it look like it's owned by Indians in order to grow.
Why do you think I've got Indian partners?
Maybe
That's
they're
what I'm
good for your
saying.
brand.
Say again?
Maybe they're good for your brand.
I'm
Absolutely.
also looking for a white manager, to be honest, for the new business that just started. You know, speaking of we spoke about putting a different skin color in charge of a business. Do you really feel maybe more businesses in Zambia should pull this move, considering a lot of Zambian, you know, the market sort of has more confidence in your business when they see a white person or an Indian person leading a company?
I think it's an idea that people have. I personally don't believe in it.
What do you mean don't believe in it? You use the white chick to start the business, to grow the business.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. But I mean, she just happened to be part of the equation. But I think, like I mentioned, I think if you're confident enough with your business and with your people, you should be good to go. But I know that unfortunately there's a challenge, and people feel like they have having a different skin color makes it a bit better. But that can only get you so far. You understand? Yeah. Once you start sitting with in certain rooms where people are discussing certain things, it's about the content now, about your knowledge and so on and so forth. So I know most people believe that, but it's it only caters for a certain space. Once you get out of that space, then For example, if you do a pitch deck, and you have to pitch in front of investors or in front of people that know exactly what they're doing. I mean, regardless of what you send there, if they're not able to pitch properly, it doesn't matter what color you are. It will either convince the people you're pitching in front of, or it won't.
I'll give an example. And I've heard this from a few guys who are supplying in certain mines, and I won't mention where if you go as a black guy to supply, let's say maybe bearings, just an example, right? Or let me give you a better example of a service. Let's say maybe clearing water from a pit or underground in a mine somewhere. When you go as a black guy, the amount of money that you can get as a ceiling is totally different from what a white guy is going to get for the same
my
deal.
seed is going down.
And this happens a lot. I'm sure you've heard of such happening as well.
Yeah, of course.
For the same deal, black guy gets that much, no matter how much he negotiates. White guy,
Man, unfortunately, it's true. It's true. It happens.
A lot more often than
I
it
really
should.
I can't explain why it happens that way. I don't necessarily think it has happened to me because I mean, there's a cap that you go with if you know your stuff. But if you're a bit naive and people can see that, they will negotiate you down. I just don't believe in business where one person has to lose and the other one for the other one to win. I believe in a business where everybody wins. And unfortunately, we've been in situations where if you're negotiating with certain people, they make sure that you lose and then so that they can win. It has never made sense to me. And I will not mention who, but there's certain people I try and avoid when I'm doing business because of such scenarios where, you know, if you go into these conversations, you want to do business with these people, but you will still have to lose. You understand? It's just an ugly space to be in. And of course, I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, color does contribute to some of these things. A lot of things contribute to some of these things. The way you look, the way you talk, the way you dress, where you're from, and so on and so forth. They all together are components of this problem. But so I try as much as I can to get myself off that space. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. I don't know if this just happens in Zambia or in Africa, or it's a global problem, if it's a problem even, where when people see something succeed, all of a sudden you start seeing more companies doing the same business start, sprouting all over the country. And from the time you started AfriDelivery, a whole lot of other delivery companies have. Almost every second motorbike in traffic is a delivery company.
Everybody and their mama.
Everybody and their mama. How do you then set apart AfriDelivery to still be like a dominant force in the industry?
Good question. So first of all, we're a very customer-centered business. So our goal is actually not to get new customers. Our goal is to keep the customers you already have. That means we provide value and charge a little bit more for it. AfriDelivery is very expensive.
You can't even hide it.
Yeah, it's very expensive. I mean, I use it and I'm like, Ish, yeah. But the reason why we do that is because we want to keep offering the same customers more and more value. You understand?
Yeah.
So we've more or less tried to maintain a certain niche that is working for us. We don't do business with everybody. We don't deliver to everybody. We don't deliver everywhere. We're just not like overstretching ourselves because we want to maintain that. And you'll be shocked at how many people are willing to pay a little bit more for quality stuff. You get where they get like a very good customer service. Of course, I'm not saying we're perfect and we mess up every now and then, but we're not a machine, so. But we build up our business around the customers. Of course, and naturally, I mean, the biggest and the best way to advertise your business is word of mouth. So people will talk about us, and that's how we continue growing. We don't do any traditional marketing. We do a bit of digital marketing here and there, but we always depend on the customers that exist to keep us going. So that's one. Number two, like I mentioned, we're not everywhere doing everything. We've always been a very focused business. I'm not worried about the person coming after me. And one thing I know for sure is that everybody starts from zero. So if you want to jump into my business, you're welcome to do so, into my space. But you're going to start and go through the same challenges as I went through. So I more or less know how a lot of these businesses are going to go. I know for a fact that 5 or 10 motorbikes will not be enough for you to scale. I know that you need experienced riders, and that's why I make sure that our riders are the best and we keep them for the longest time. I know for a fact that you need to have certain relationship with these partners. I know for a fact a lot of stuff, and I understand tech. So our business is also very tech focused. So we own our own IP. That means we can always adopt to the market. So if we feel like our product needs to do one thing to keep going, we're able to tweak that. I think we're the only company, okay, maybe there's another one or two that owns its own IP. So there are a lot of off-the-shelf apps. Off-the-shelf apps is where you can just take and customize it and put restaurants.
IP, that's intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you mentioned going to Europe to build this, and a lot of the time, so I'm trying to figure out, did you get guys that were going to build this for you? Who owns the source code?
We do as AfriDelivery. So my tech guys are my partners. So we as a company now own.
So they've got stake in the company.
Yes, they got stake in the company.
And that's smart.
Yeah, because you can't sustain this cost.
Yeah.
You can imagine if you're building, because apps can run you into millions of dollars, yeah?
Yeah.
Especially if you want the best apps or tech in general, because you don't just build apps, you build systems. There's backend systems, there's stock management systems, there's fleet management systems, there's barcode capturing systems. There's like a whole, it's insane that what we have to do. There's no way you can sustain that as a small business. Paying that every month and you're paying these guys in euros.
Yeah. So how do you in a scenario where your tech guys have got a stake in the business and you guys are working together?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that the source code is something that you have got control over? Because if everything goes belly up tomorrow and you guys have a conflict and these guys are like, you know what, fuck you, we are done, and then they leave. Yeah. They live with the source code. So how do you protect yourself? That
the source code belongs to the company.
It belongs to the company. I get it, but it's not in the possession of them, but certain individuals. Do you get my question?
Yeah. So what? The only way they will be able to do that is out of malice. But legally they can't do that.
Of course,
they can't just wake up and just run away with the source code and then you guys are no longer existing, unless you shut down the whole company. But everybody at least. We make sure that access to this information is spread out. So I have access, they have access.
Not just
everybody,
one person does. That's
nobody
what I was asking.
Nobody can just wake up and delete your stuff and just lock you out and so on.
Squally.
No.
Right.
And also now we make sure that everything is controlled at a certain central point. That means that logins and passwords and so on and so forth, you can't just wake up and change a password without 1, 2, 3 people confirming
approving
that.
Yeah.
So, but also now, I mean, a partnership is like a marriage, yeah? So you just have to make sure that partnership is going well. And if it's not going well, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to work well, then you guys have to sit down and have these honest conversations. Because now the business is no longer about us. Business is taking care of people. I mean, there's a lot of people under that business. So unless you're like probably the most evil person in the whole world that just wants the company to just shut down, you can't just wake up and decide to do that, because what happens to our customers, what happens to our employees, what happens to our partners that we sell on behalf of? I mean, there's like a whole chain of people that will be affected by that. So it's easier for you to just agree, okay, this is not working, buy me out, or buy you out, and then everybody goes their own. Yeah.
How do you feel, because you are well established in Zambia? I know you got some business in Zimbabwe. How do you feel? Firstly, it's a 2-part question. Do you see any similarities in doing business here, like it is in Zim or any other country that you have established your business in? That's number 1. And number 2, do you feel it is an advantage or is it a disadvantage not being from the country that you establish your business in? Would you have succeeded if you're a Zambian?
Yeah. I would have succeeded.
So why didn't you do this in Kenya or Rwanda?
Because it's a business play. I mean, even in Kenya would have succeeded. It's just that it would probably taken me longer. But Kenya would have probably played one or two ways. It takes me longer, or I just get bought out.
Longer because of our competition? Or
yes, competition. So the good thing about such markets is the markets are so big that you can easily create a niche. Like the business I have here, I can just have it there and still be insignificant, you see, because the big players are going into thousands and thousands of transactions in a day. And if you're doing hundreds, then you're nothing. But they can still easily buy you out. But the reason why I also pick this is because you need some time to grow. You get, so you can't just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to establish this business in a big market where there's big competition, where there's enough funding and so on and so forth. And you don't have a lot of experience. So you need to be able to give you to put yourself in a position where you can easily grow at your own pace, learn as much as you can, and then scale up from there. So the reason why I picked this place is because I felt it was a good space for me to start from. Because even if there was no competition, there was also like room for me to learn. Because I mean, I've done business for quite some time, but I'm still learning. You get, so this was the best place to do that. When it comes to similarities in other markets, for example, Zim and Zambia, I think there's similarities in people.
That's true.
Yeah, there's similarities in people. There's similarities in customer behavior, but there's a bit of infrastructure that's here that lacks there, like affordable data. I mean, penetration of internet and so on. I mean, power here is a bit more stable. And there's quite a lot actually that we have in Zambia that doesn't exist there. But then also now, and also here there's a bit of structure. You get, structure is good for business, especially if it's a big business, because that means that you can't just wake up and then your business doesn't exist. You get, because of one or two things. So it's a good. Other countries are good, but then there's also there are advantages here and there that we have here that you will not have there, and that's why I always prefer that my business is a Zambian business that will scale to other countries from Zambia. But also there's quite a lot of support I get from here, even from the governmental institutions and so on and so forth, that will probably be harder to get. Even if I was in Kenya and I'm Kenyan, I'll have to wait for quite some time. Yeah.
You made it a point that you will not forget that you invited me to the launch of Afri Supermarket.
Yeah, I did, and you didn't show up.
I'm sorry.
Shame on you.
I was away. I felt terrible about it, and I couldn't face you for the following few days. I think I then got in touch with you.
So you knew about it. You knew you actually
I felt
missed
like
it.
a dick. Yeah, I felt like a dick.
I thought so. Good for you.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. Tell me about Afri Supermarket. It's Afri Wholesale too, right? There's two.
Yeah, there's Afri Supermarket and Afri Wholesale.
This guy had a whole bunch of entire ministers.
Yeah, Felix Mutati and.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have the clip?
I'll give you guys.
I don't know. It depends if he wants to pay for it or not.
We'll decide.
Yeah, we'll decide.
I'll give you some contacts.
We're not that expensive. We don't charge in euros, man. So
anyway, yeah. So Afri Supermarket is a good story because I always wanted to diversify. Yeah, I knew for a fact that food delivery was becoming a commodity. So I knew that my next door neighbor was thinking of buying a motorbike and getting into my business and this and that and that. And I was never too stuck on just doing food delivery. Food delivery is also very hectic because it's a very time-sensitive business. So if you don't do your delivery within an hour, then your customer will just show you the middle finger and there's only so much you can do about it. So I knew I wanted to get into the retail space. The reason why I wanted to get into the retail space but disrupt it is because I knew that these guys in the retail spaces had not thought about it. They had thought about it, but there are very few guys that are focused on fast-moving consumer goods. So, and I know the fast-moving consumer goods are normally categorized in two. There's the general trade, there's a modern trade. General trade is your wholesalers and so on. And then your modern trade is your supermarkets. I tried to do this with supermarkets where I would come in and I would put the products in the supermarkets. I think I did this with ShopRite too. But then, first of all, the commercials never made any sense. So we're not making money. And the cost was ridiculous. And there was no data synchronization. That means that if a supermarket is out of stock, we don't know. The customer will still place an order and there will be inconvenience and then price differences. It just became a mess. It used to take us an average of 1 hour to confirm an order with the supermarket. Wow. The guys do not pick up. I mean, and also now it became a bit hard because so the managers might want the best for the supermarket, but you're dealing with the staff, the store staff. So the managers will dump you. Will place you under the staff in the stores, but then the staff in the stores don't have the same vision as you or the manager. So there's a disconnect there. You get so the same effort that you want to put in and the same effort the managers of the stores want to put in are not the same effort that the store guys are putting in. So as much as you want to push the product, it becomes very, very hard. I remember my guys used to camp in supermarkets, man, fulfilling orders for customers. And it just wasn't practical. But I never removed supermarkets. I kept on because I wanted to understand customer behavior. Because at the end of the day, we are a data company. So we've got information. So I want to know, okay, my customer is ordering this and this and this and this and this and this at the end of the day. So if this supermarket deal play doesn't work, I would want to be able to go directly to the distributor or the supplier or the whoever and tell them, you know what, I still sit at a customer base of 250,000 people that I need to supply to. Are you able to supply me this and give me the same deals you're giving the supermarkets? And the guys are more than happy to do that because even them, they're getting pressure from the manufacturers out of the country to look for other sources of other ways of distributing their products, because you can't always do your traditional distributions. That's in modern trade and in general trade. So online became the play. And since we have a good reputation when it comes to AfriDelivery, it was a no-brainer. So I was able to get all these guys on board. And so, but this time around, we did it differently. We set up our own warehouses. We set up our own cold rooms. We set up our own ecosystem, basically. So we control everything from stock pricing,
stock availability,
logistics, everything. We control from A to Z.
All right.
So that means we'll cut down our order delivery time from an hour to 2-3 minutes. Because anything that's available on our platforms
is available in your warehouse.
Yes, because and also now a big advantage of not being a white label product. The fact that we build our own tech helped us integrate our stock inventory system with our UI, our user interface on the customer side.
Yeah.
So that means that the customer only sees what we have in stock. You understand? So anytime products are offloaded at a warehouse, they're loaded onto the UI. So if there are like 50 pieces, 60 pieces left, the customer is able to see that. And anytime the order is processed and confirmed and delivered, it automatically leaves the system. You get? So there's no way that a customer will order something and an order takes 10-15 minutes to be confirmed. It's impossible. And then when it comes to logistics, we outsource that now from AfriDelivery, which is still within the same group of companies. So we give each other the value.
So who are you charging here? Are you charging the customer for providing this service? Are you charging the customer or are you charging the supermarket? So who here would be billed in this instance?
Not the customer for sure. So the customer will only pay for the cost of products.
Right.
But in the cost of product, we incorporate our delivery fees too there. And it's still cheaper than traditional supermarket.
So the only additional fee that the customer is paying is for delivery?
No, they don't pay delivery fees.
So
we incorporate it in our margins.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a pack of sugar is 20 kwacha, it's going to be 20 kwacha on your website.
Yeah.
So
cheaper than 20 kwacha.
Okay. So how do you guys make your money?
Because so cost of product is based on cost of produce. Okay, so if your cost to get a product to market is 1, okay, and your cost of the sale of the product is 2, but it has to incorporate the 1. So you only sell based on how much you spend to bring your product to the market. But for us, it's a bit cheaper. Let me explain to you why. Because first things first, if a supermarket needs 60 people on ground, we just need 2. Okay.
If a supermarket needs what?
Needs 60 people in the store
on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor. We just need 2 guys
to
load the products and dispatch. That's 1. Number 2, we don't need to be in any modern mall. We can stock our goods in anywhere. You get? So the cost, of course, the cost is a bit lower. Because if I have to pay
$200 a square meter in a mall.
Yeah, in a
something
mall,
else,
then I'm
yeah.
only paying what? Maybe a third of that at any other space. So naturally, our cost will be lower. And you use your cost of production to price the cost of sale of the product. So if it's not costing me 10 kwacha to produce the product, then I can sell it for 12 or 13. But if it's costing me 20, then I'll sell it for 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever.
All right.
You get. So it's just that my cost is a bit lower. So it's sustainable. So, and also now what I noticed about online customers, the basket size is a bit higher. It's a bit bigger.
For the online guys.
For online guys. So you'll see an online customer will probably buy from you once, but they'll buy goods worth 3,000, 4,000 kwacha.
Serious, eh?
Yes.
Deep.
So if your margins there are 20, 30%, do the math. How much are you making from that? And your delivery fee is only 30 kwacha, 40 kwacha. You can easily afford to deliver those goods to the product for free, to the customer for free.
I have understood AfriDelivery today, like I never have. But I'd like to talk about, the inner workings of AfriDelivery. I know we've spoken about
Also, are you sleepy?
No. Do I look sleepy?
You look like you're zoning out.
No, I just got this.
a money call.
Yes, there's some just bullshit that's happening. In my
The more money has been stolen from you.
You
We
need to put that phone.
Yeah, I know, right?
You actually asked us before we started this if you could be on your phone, etc. No money has been stolen. I've lost a lot of money.
All right, sure.
Oh, awesome.
I'll say we've understood the technical aspect of it all.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that entrepreneurs are watching this because AfriDelivery has grown from, like you've described, from nothing to where it is today. But I'd like to understand, especially I'm asking this for the entrepreneurs who are starting out, how do you hire your staff? What do you look for? What do you look out for?
When I used to hire staff, that's a good question. I'm very bad at hiring. But I've learned how to hire good people. But I look for, so it depends on the role. Okay. So there are some roles that you can't compromise on, like finance, like basically management, anything to do with management. You need a certain level of qualifications when it comes to education. But what I normally do, I normally promote from within. So, for example, our current managing director started as a human resource manager, and now she's doing her MBA. Okay, so I told her, okay, for you to manage this company, you need to understand a bit of finance. She said, okay, cool, and I'll master in finance. You understand? So I normally hire people I can grow, I can help grow with the organization, because you also need people that will learn and understand the culture of the company, so they can grow with the organization, because you can't just hire someone that comes and disrupts everything. You get, it's easier like that. And it's also very motivating for other employees to see you promoting from within. They know, okay, if this person came in as a human resources, now they're a manager. If this person came in, there's also opportunity for me to grow. Yeah. Exactly. I don't hire the junior staff. Actually haven't had in quite some time, man. But I also look at a lot when it comes. I also look at attitude a lot. Yeah, like attitude is key for me, man.
That's true.
You need someone that's trainable. You need someone that has some good energy and some good vibe. I mean, I don't look at much. I don't look at much.
They say you are hired for your qualification, but fired for your attitude.
Yeah, I mean, qualifications are always an added bonus. But also, our business is not a traditional business. You need someone that can easily adopt, someone that can easily maybe tailor themselves into whatever is coming, because our business is very dynamic, it changes a lot.
Yeah.
So what people look at today is not what they're looking at tomorrow. We might come up with a new technology and so on and so forth. So you just need someone that can easily, like a chameleon, change. Exactly. So, and also you just need cool people, man. I mean, my employees on my team, they're also my best friends. Spend my most time with them. So I just need people that will give me some positive energy, and we learn together. Nobody comes there doing everything. Yeah.
Who's the guy with the dreadlocks?
Which guy?
The guy
Danny?
with the dreadlocks. I don't know. I forgot his name.
Danny.
I think so.
Marketing, yeah.
Is he in marketing? I thought he took up a more pivotal role.
No.
Remember when
Our BDM.
Marketing's not pivotal.
No, not really.
He's our BDM.
It's the BDM, right?
Yeah.
You know who I'm speaking about because you guys seem pretty close.
Yeah.
That's the guy that you came with to Eden House when we had that meeting.
Yeah. Very smart guy. Yeah.
What's the work
He
environment?
started as an
like?
intern. I didn't want
No
him.
way. Are you
It was an
serious?
accidental
You didn't
hire.
want him?
Serious?
Yeah, they hired him accidentally.
What do you,
So
I-
who's there? You're not involved in the hiring process.
So
how do you get hired accidentally? I'm trying to get.
So we were looking for interns,
Yeah.
and Danny, I tell this story all the time. I'm sure he will understand.
Yeah.
And then the guys got someone. So I said I want this guy. They got the guy below him, and it was him. So they skipped the names that I wanted. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing some guy in the office.
With dreadlocks.
No, he had an afro at that time.
Oh, okay.
Very young guy. So he came in as customer service, and he was very good. He's still very, very
And you're
good.
like, who the fuck are you? I
Still-
didn't choose you.
He's still very, very good. And I was like, And the guy was such a free spirit that
Yeah.
he was first of all very vocal, which later on I came to understand it's actually very good for the business. And he was also he's got an opinion, and most of the time, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I didn't like that. So I told the guys, you need to fire him. And they told me no.
Well, who told you no?
My human resources said we don't do that here. Oh man, they said no.
You're trying to be Donald Trump.
I
Fire!
said no. There's no reason to fire him. The guy stays. He stayed. And the guy went up the ranks. It's been maybe 3-4 years now.
Wow.
Him going up the rank had nothing to do with you.
No, the guy is just playing good at his job.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and this is very good with customers.
Right.
Yeah, but also became very close. And yeah, I don't think he gets favored, but he's positioned himself in a good place.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, but he's also very resourceful. Cool guy.
How involved are you right now in the business? Yeah.
Which business? AfriDelivery.
AfriDelivery.
Almost zero.
He did say when we had a coffee break that he's done all he has to do for today. And he did it between 7 and 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And it's done for the day.
The reason I ask him is,
Yeah.
I think just before COVID, there was a time that you and I met and we were talking about December plans, and your plan was to be out of Zambia, go to Kenya and a couple other places, and you're going to be away for nearly a year. Do you remember that?
No, but I was off for quite some time.
Yeah, and you could afford to do that, and the business would keep running.
Yeah. Even now I can.
Yeah, even now you can, and because you were just in Portugal, right?
I just came from Portugal last week, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a friend of mine as well, a guy that has his own podcast. He's got a company called Sankulani. He's put systems in place that this guy can go away for a year,
Yeah.
and everything will still run the way it is supposed to.
I think so for that to function for me, it doesn't mean I'm not involved in the business. It just means I talk to the right people. So there are people I talk to every day when I wake up in the morning, my accountant, my managing director, my operations manager, and every now and then my marketing and my PA. So these 5 guys, I talk to them almost on a daily basis, and they make sure that everything else runs. I left all the company groups. I'm only left in one group, that's the management group, because everything I need to know, I know from that group. The reason why I did that is because...
WhatsApp group, you mean?
Sorry?
WhatsApp group.
Yeah. The reason why I did that is because I noticed that, and someone actually told me this, for the company to grow, I need to get myself off that and just focus on 2 things. Anything to do with strategy, like taking the business to the next level, and also now fundraising, getting investors, and also now there's one thing I do, although I'm not supposed to do, is the product side. So I'm more involved in building stuff. I sit a lot with my developers and we talk every day, we hang out. I mean, that's my safe space. But when it comes to the day-to-day, none.
I like that.
What's the work environment like? Because I know a lot of tech companies have very
Relaxed.
very casual, very kind of relaxed work environment. There's a pool table, there's a bar. Is it the same with
We tried that and it failed.
the bar?
We never tried the bar. We had a pool table at some point. But unfortunately, you also have to be very disciplined for you to do that.
Okay.
So we've got a cool working space, full of artwork and stuff, like graffiti and all that stuff. But then there's still governance Okay, so you have to report, you have to check in. Yeah, so we're not at a point where I tried to have call center agents working from home and they used to drink at the same time. I'm like, this is not working.
What, the pool table failed at the office? People were playing more pool
this is not working. And then I stopped. So I said, you have to come to the office and work. The only people that don't have to come to the office are the drivers. I never see the drivers for like a good 1 month. I only meet them by the roadside. I'm like, hey. Or restaurants, and I have to introduce myself and so on, because I don't know quite a number of them now.
Discipline is key. There's this company in South Africa called IQ Business.
Yeah.
It's the first company in SA to try out, guess what? They've tried out a 4-day working week.
Really?
Yes. And the production and efficiency of their employees have actually gone up.
We wanted to do that. We wanted employees to take 2 days off. We're still thinking about it. It was Danny's idea.
Wait, 2 days out of 7 or 2 out of 5?
2 out of 6. We work 6 days. So we work every day, but we work 6 days in a week.
Monday to Saturday.
Yeah, Monday to Saturday.
Then you take 2 days out of that.
You take 2 days out of that, yeah. So that the other days you can be as productive as possible.
All right.
So management for us, we don't necessarily have to be at the office. But I'm lucky to be among the few companies that have very good managers. Like the guys can just be anywhere and
they're working.
Yeah, I went to Livingston with my COO. Just for so we're doing some training for digital marketing for our new business. So a friend of mine came from Kenya and we said, you know what, doesn't make sense for us to do this from here. Let's go to Livingston. So we drove to Livingston and we did it from there for 4 days. And every day I would wake up and I would see this guy working from, and I told him, you don't have to work, man. Just like calm down, chill. He would work from 8 in the morning to 3 p.m. and us guys would work until midday. We used to have 2-hour sessions every day from 9 to 11. So from midday, we're done. He's doing other, indulging.
Let's call it that.
And the guy would work until 3 p.m. and until everything is fine. That's when now he would probably and I don't know, I thought that was very impressive. I don't know if I was doing it because I was there. But I've also noticed even my MD also does the same. She doesn't necessarily have to be at the office. But I mean, she will casually just send you a text at 11 p.m. and be like, oh, this and that work. I mean, it's crazy. As long as stuff gets done, same as my account. And I mean, yeah, I mean, as long as you've got people that understand their jobs and deliverables, they don't have to be at the office. Danny has to be at the office. Danny is a bit loose of a goose.
Yeah, those dreadlocks need maintaining. Something that you said, Wallace, just had me thinking. So you mentioned how you are more of a tech company than logistics or anything else. Just kind of another mindfuck is McDonald's is more into real estate.
Company,
yeah. The information that you have is gold. How much of that information do you sell?
None.
Why?
Because of a billion reasons. I can package it and use it for businesses that we onboard, but we don't sell information. But I've got a lot of information.
Yeah. Because right now you know how much chicken Musonda buys. There is really nothing that stops you from selling that information to Nando's or anybody that makes chicken, that Musonda buys chicken 8 times a week.
Yeah. I know where they buy chicken from. I know where they spend their most money. I know where they live. I know how they buy. I can tell when a customer migrates from work to home in the evening. I can tell when a customer browses a product, adds the product to cart, leaves that, goes to a similar competing product, adds the product to cart and completes the order process. I can tell you why they chose that product.
You know when they have money and when they are broke.
Yes, I know a lot.
That's valuable information,
and I can influence their behavior.
Absolutely.
So I can send a push and say, I think you should buy this. And they'll buy that.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, also we're in a market that doesn't understand the value of data.
Like the way America does.
You understand? Yeah. Because I go to the restaurants, I tell them, through what we do, we've managed to accumulate all this information. you guys are my partners. We've got the right to use this data to promote our businesses. Okay, I'm not going to come and tell you the data, but we can easily tailor something based on this knowledge that we have, and push something that will probably attract more users and so on and so forth. But they don't want to think. They still depend on the walk-in customers walking into the stores and leaving. But I'm telling them, bro, in the next 4 or 5 years, this, whatever you guys are working on, will not be existing. If you have another COVID today, people will not go back to those restaurants. Because I saw maybe 30-40% of the restaurants die during COVID.
But business must have boomed for you during COVID days, yeah? No.
People didn't have money to spend. Business boomed
Yeah.
on the business side. It's actually a very bad, it's a very bad cycle.
I would have thought
Let me explain to you how it didn't
Yeah.
work for anybody. So people want to put their businesses on AfriDelivery, but the customers don't have money to spend on AfriDelivery. So even if you put your businesses on AfriDelivery, people will still not buy from you because they've got no money to spend. So regardless of what happens, you will still suffer.
It's a vicious cycle.
Exactly. You will still suffer. And that's what people never noticed. And also I made foolish mistakes at that time. I picked up businesses that were more of a liability than a value add. So we ended up using our good assets for chasing after bad money. So let me explain to you how that works. Is when you, instead of me delivering food worth 200 kwacha, I deliver food worth 30 kwacha. So instead of me making 30 kwacha commission, I make 3 kwacha commission. But then most customers want to buy food worth 30 kwacha. So you've got all your assets lined up to collect 30 kwacha orders, okay? And then you just make a bunch of 3 kwachas in a day that will never add up to anything. So eventually, if you look at AfriDelivery now, we really focused on like certain niche. So a bit of fine dining, high end, and so on and so forth, because the margins make sense for our business. Our business is very expensive to run. So at least now we know our assets are being used for what they should be used for. It's a tricky business. Most people, I see a lot of people coming up, mushrooming
Delivery companies.
and I'm like, bro, it's easier for you to bring that bike and put it on AfriDelivery.
Yeah, I've seen that even when with the taxi hailing service with Orlando and Yango, and now we've got another
Probably
one that
have
was
like
actually
6.
yeah. I don't know why companies feel because the one person has done it.
Wait, I just quote something you said here. I think I've misunderstood your whole business model. You said it's easier for that person to buy a motorbike and bring it to you guys.
Yeah.
How many of those bikes we see on the road at AfriDelivery are actually yours, and how many
Majority of them.
actually yours?
Yeah.
So
what we do
if
is,
I buy a motorbike today, I can bring it to you. Like it'll work like a what, Yango kind of thing.
yes and no. So right now we're opening up to freelancers where you just come as a driver and we just give you deliveries and you take majority of delivery fees, and we are not in any partnership or anything, but we also have a good number of our riders that we employ just for quality control purposes. We still want to make sure that regardless of what happens, our customers still get premium service, and you can only do that if you know the rider will be there at 7 a.m. in the morning. Regardless of what happens, whether there's money or not, he will still be there. Because it's very important for us to satisfy the market when you have 10 customers and when you have 100 customers. We need to make sure that it's the same. So we do pick extra assets, but we assign them to our drivers. You get? Yeah. But if you're a driver and you want to come in with your assets, you're also welcome to, especially now because we've got other businesses.
I think getting motorbikes and bring them to
A
you.
lot of people, I mean, I get meetings all the time that have to do with people just buying assets and bringing them there.
Yeah, dude. How do you know DoorDash, right?
Yeah, I know DoorDash.
In America, because you spend a lot of time in America. How do you have you heard of DoorDash before?
No.
I just continue. So DoorDash is similar to the concept of Yango, right? Which is similar to what Wallace is doing. It's food delivery. However, they don't own any bikes or any delivery vehicles. So a whole bunch of people sign up, kind of like Orlando. So they sign up, and if anybody wants food from Hungry Lion at East
the
Park,
nearest
the nearest person
Right.
who is there would then go and purchase and deliver that.
It's like Uber for food.
It's like Uber for food, exactly. So whoever is the closest to that area
Grabs it quickly for you.
Right.
For convenience. Yeah.
Right. So cuts down on delivery time, on efficiency, etc., etc. Do you feel stuff like that would work here?
Yes and no. Yes, because the market is ready, and no, because the suppliers are not ready. The market is ready. The market will consume the product.
So,
it's fine. But you as the platform, you still want to make money, but you don't want to make money from the user. So if I come and say, you're a restaurant, okay? And I say, I want to give you 10 customers every day, but I want you to give me 20 kwacha for every customer I bring. In many cases, they will say no. Or they'll be like, oh, I don't need it. So it becomes a bit hard for you to sustain it. So even if the market is demanding, you need everybody to play a role. You get, and it becomes it's very hard for us, for example, to scale past what we're doing now because innovation is only sitting on one side, sitting with us and our users. But then if you go to, for example, restaurants, they're very they're very
rigid.
They're very stuck up when it comes to some of these things. It's my margins this, my margins. But I'm like, okay, we've got access to so much. If we just sit down for now, we can come up with a lot that will probably improve this. Yeah. You might have to maybe give up maybe an extra 5% or 10%, but the return on investment will be more. But that is a conversation they're not willing to have. Yeah. The good thing is that on the retail space, when it comes to the other commodities, like the first movie consumer goods, that's a conversation the distributors and manufacturers are willing to have. And that's why it's easier for us to work with them. They're willing to put something on the table when it comes to marketing. They're willing to give you some reasonable rebates. Right. Like I said, it has to be a win-win situation. Yeah. But on the other side, there's a win-lose, which it doesn't have to be that way. You understand? Yeah.
That's deep stuff, man. What are your thoughts on this whole Ulendo? I mean, you mentioned earlier that it helps being a first mover in the industry, like AfriDelivery was. But then Ulendo was also like a first mover, and then Yango showed up.
You know why it might be hard for Ulendo?
Yeah.
This is my opinion. It doesn't have to stand as a fact.
Yeah.
Because so you have to be very good when it comes to identifying your competitor. But you also have to be very good to not focus on your competitor. You understand? So you know your competitor, yes, but your business is not driven by
your competitor.
Focus on the customer.
So what happened is, Yango came cut prices, right? Ulendo did the same. You understand? Then they cut prices more. Ulendo did the same. You get? So what happens? They both ended up going for the same market. So automatically, whoever has the most money will win this.
And in this instance,
but they can cut it down to zero. And
eventually, they will be competing 15 kwachas and so on. Can you imagine they cut from 50 kwacha to 45 to like now it's 20?
And in this instance, Yango can easily win because Yango has got deeper pockets. I stand to be corrected.
But you know what? For example, like let me give you an example. When we got other competitors, I don't want to mention them, but you know our competitors.
Yeah. Ulendo Eats.
What them and Tigmos and so on and so forth. What we did is our goal has always been a niche market. We're like, you know what? I don't even want to be a cheap product. I'll increase my prices. So I added my pricing. My pricing is ridiculous. You get? Because they still have good market out there that is looking for
the quality
quality, bro. Quality.
That is so true.
So, and you know what? You've got two options in business, always. Add value, charge more. Lower your value, charge less.
Compromise.
You understand?
So much compromise, yeah.
So, if you add value and charge more, in many cases, if you look at your book balance, you'll find that you're still able to sustain your business. People are willing to pay more. You understand? And that's what we did as AfriDelivery, because we don't want to compete with everybody else delivering 30 kwacha meals. No offense. Delivering low value meals. You get? There's a customer that wants, okay, if I place an order, I want someone to call me and address me by my name. I want when a rider is coming to my house, I want them to know already where I live. I don't want someone calling me, where do you live? Yeah. You understand?
That's the same story as Vox, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a lifestyle that you're selling.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle because there's a lot more brands of water that are cheaper. But again, you're gonna get to a point where we've actually arrived there, where you walk into a Total and Vox is exactly where it's meant to be and it's on its own, and you see people picking up a couple of boxes. The same lady who you ran into
by the Puma filling station.
Yeah, who had like a whole bunch of...
she bought like a whole lot going to Ndola because she says they can't find something in Ndola.
Right, and so going to any gas station, go into any supermarket, how many bottles of water do you see that are cheaper than Vox? But again, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
people kept
this is the
coming
kind
to-
of brand I want
Yeah.
to have when I'm doing my board meetings and stuff.
There you go.
People kept saying, but why is she buying 13 kwacha water? It's just water.
No, it's not.
She
No, it's
didn't
not.
see it that way.
It's
I
not,
didn't see it
no.
that way.
It is not
Yeah.
just water.
It's not just water, it's Vox.
She's buying value.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
You're buying value. I mean, we all fly on the same plane, but other people go for business class, you go for economy. You're
Right.
buying that
You're on the
value.
same
You all
plane,
land
you're
at the same
time. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's you're buying how it makes you feel. And it's a lifestyle. That's what you're selling.
Lamek, that's not water you're drinking.
You get. So
That's what you should be drinking.
do you guys
Vox,
need
right?
to
No. Someone was calling me, so I was asking him to
Oh,
answer.
okay, cool.
Yeah, we can
So
see
there's a lot of and it's a risk though you have to take as a businessman, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also very important for you to understand your market.
Yeah.
It's so that's I feel like that's the gap that Orlando and Yango have. And unfortunately, very unfortunate that one brand will have to lose. Because if I was Orlando, you know what I've done? I would have made sure that for you to qualify for Orlando, you only need to have a certain type of car, looking a certain way, and I maintain my pricing. And I push it as a premium brand.
Absolutely.
Period.
Because I mean,
I watched an interview.
iPhone and Samsung.
I was about
Make
to
it
say.
that way.
I was about to say it involves Steve Jobs. I don't know if you saw this interview where it was Steve and Bill Gates on the same interview. Did you watch that?
Oh, yeah.
Where he said for the longest time they were competing, but then Steve then got to a realization that in order for Apple to win, Microsoft did not have to lose.
Exactly.
Apple just needed to realize that they're Apple and focus on who they're selling to.
Yeah.
Not to say for me to win, this guy has to lose.
No.
Because now you're focusing on your competitor as opposed to focusing on
So the guys,
customer.
so the guys are now have now stopped building their business, and now I'm sure they wake up in the morning. They're like, "What did our competitor do? If they lower the prices, let's lower ours." It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You'd rather shut down because the mental strain you have to go through to keep up with it, because it's not sustainable
No,
for
it's not.
business.
No, it's not.
It is not. Once you can only cut costs so much.
So long, and for so long, yeah.
You can't sustain that. So you'd rather have 10, 15, 20, 100 customers, but you're still in business. Okay.
Not all numbers are good numbers.
We could. How long have we been going for now?
5 hours?
50. Since when?
So what? Almost 2 hours.
Nah, Wallace, it's been real, man.
Man, now we could.
This guy's such a...
We need to do this in 2 parts. I'll tell you that now because there's a lot more that we did not touch on.
Yeah.
I've not touched on the journey of where you still need to go.
Yeah.
I've not touched on what you're doing in Zim. I've not touched on your experience in Argentina because that was an amazing. What can we call that? The conference that you
The
went
summit.
to. The summit.
It was amazing, man. 70,000 people from different nationalities. There's another one next to in Barcelona. And still another one in Lisbon. There's quite a number next year, maybe about 4.
How much of the travel that you've done do you feel contributes to you, being this open-minded and seeing stuff that other people cannot see, especially when you've been in the same space for so long,
100%.
right?
100%. I tell people that, my young men at the office, I tell that, bro, don't get married until you leave the country. Don't. Just leave. Travel a bit.
It opens your mind.
There's so much more to see out
Absolutely,
there.
man.
There's the inspiration that I come with, and I feel like I'm going nuts if I don't travel, because I need it, and I believe that everybody needs it. I was telling my MD the other day that I would personally invest so she can leave and just like see the world and come back.
All right.
Because whatever is out there.
It also shows you how small and insignificant your own culture is.
Oh yeah.
It also shows you how small and insignificant whatever. whatever you're planning on doing right now. So if you own a radio station and it's the biggest radio station in Nakonde or in Mchinga, and then you travel and you go to, I don't know, Argentina or a country like that, where you see other people that are in the same space as you realize how whatever it is that you felt was the pinnacle, was the height of what you want to achieve is literally nothing.
Yeah.
Because those people literally could have achieved that in the first week or in the first month of their operations. So it gives you new targets.
Yeah.
It gives you new stuff to aspire to. And one other thing that I've seen is unless you're some kind of genius, for you to maybe achieve something or have an idea of what else you'd like to have, it is easier to achieve that once you've seen it.
Yeah.
So when you travel and you see what's possible and what people have done, it's now easier for you to come back and say, okay, so this is what I want because I've seen
You've
it.
got a reference point.
Say that again?
You've got a reference point.
Yeah.
Something you
There
can
you go.
reference to.
And money
Right.
spent on travel is never wasted, right?
No.
Never.
Wallace, it's been real, man.
Thank you, man.
I've learned something. Dude, this is college right here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they taught business like this, I would have never dropped out. Well, it's been real. Thanks a lot for coming through, bro.
Thank you too, man. It's been
been-
awesome. I like such conversations. I mean, I do a lot of interviews, but they're not deep.
Right.
But I feel like this has been proper.
Can this be in the promo?
And thank you for the food. He
Thank you
got
for
us
the food.
all.
The
He got us
AfriDelivery
all.
delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delivered food to us.
Yeah,
Man.
that was awesome.
You're welcome.
To the next episode.
And you were saying before we started, you would like to distribute this water.
Yeah.
So if this happens,
who are
we need
the
our
owners?
cut. What's the guy's name?
Nathan.
Nathan. We need our
And
cut.
Jeff.
Yes.
And
I
Mwanjani.
like to sell, especially with our meals,
Right.
because we try
I'll
and
call him just now, in fact.
try and couple
Right after this.
we try and couple like our meals with like brands, like drinks and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys will easily buy this water.
Awesome. All right.
To the next episode.
Cheers.
Dun 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 dun.